Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, I'm your host, Mrs. M. And if you haven't, make sure you click the link below. That way you can subscribe to my channel and not miss out on anything you need to scale your business to six figures and beyond. Pow! Happy 2023. So I'm going to get right into it. We actually have a budget for the government that is $1.52 trillion. Trillion with the T. Now, we definitely, in fiscal year 2023, can make anywhere from six figures all the way up to, I'd say, at least a milli, okay? But we need to know, what is the government buying specifically? Now, what I like around this time of the year is when the budget comes out, I actually do something I did long time ago when I first got started. I would go through the budget and I would make sure that my capability statement had a lot of the information word by word, because they give you everything. I would actually make sure that I took my capability statement, my differentiators, and I aligned them with the budget that came out in an agency that I know definitely worked for me. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to give you examples of what I did and what you can do right now, fiscal year 2023, to get your business in government contracts. When the budget is 1.52 trillion, you definitely can get at least, and I'm saying at least six figures, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna give you an example of just one of the budgets, and that's DHS, which is one of my favorite because FEMA is located in there, which is one of my favorite disaster relief. Why do I like disaster relief so much? Because it's something we all can do. Almost any industry can be involved with either DHS, which is Department of Homeland Security, or FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency Management Agency. So FEMA and DHS. Almost anyone can do that, no matter what your agency is. So let's look at some specifics that I'm going to give you throughout this video that you can implement. And then if you can't, I know you can find something in here that you can utilize, and I'm going to give you some specifics on that. Now, the goal is to take your capability statement. And I know you have a capability statement because I talk about that all the time. So if you've looked at anything I do, I talk about two things that you need to have, actually three. You need to make sure that you have your website. There's too many free sites out there, or sites that you can do for $197 or $199 that you do not have a website. So set some money aside, make that a priority, check. You need to have your capability statement. Capability statements are the number one thing that contracting officers ask for. I know personally, being here in DC, and I know that I've had that. They've asked me right from the break, can I have your capability statement? And then they may even ask for a briefing, a capability briefing. So those are the three things that I would absolutely make sure I had. Of course, depending on if you're looking at doing federal contracts or if you're looking at doing state and local, will depend on if you need to do SAM or if you need to do your, just make sure you're registered with your state and local. So you guys ready? Okay, let's go. The first thing is, I'm going to take a little handy notes here, and this is for fiscal year 2023. So the first thing we're going to look at is disaster relief. An additional, now DHS had their budget for fiscal year 2023 set aside, and they set aside for FEMA $19.73 billion for additional funding for FEMA. 19.73 billion with a B, okay? 500 million is for different areas of flooding. So start getting your, carpets, buildings, start getting those wheels turning. Flooding, 500 million with an M. They set aside 3.2 billion for preparedness. Now remember, in disaster relief, there are like 4 areas. So I've talked about preparedness, mitigation, recovery, response. All 4 of those. Now, in 3.2 billion is set aside for preparedness. How to make sure that you get the agencies or all the communities ready for preparing for a disaster. 3.2 billion. So that's why I said, I know we can make six figures. Seriously, come on. All right. Now, the other thing we wanted to look at is they are setting aside over $5.1 billion to add into addition for when it comes to response and recovery. Those two are almost always in any industry when it comes to disaster relief. You can think of almost anything that you can do. Actually, all four: preparedness, mitigation, response, recovery. They are setting aside billions of dollars for these areas because they know that they're looking to save even more lives by making sure that people are prepared and they have a quicker response and recovery. And this is so important because this is what I did. I went to the budget, downloaded it, okay? Choose the agency. You could go to usaspending.gov, which will give you the agencies that use you the most. So whatever your industry is, usaspending.gov, okay? Once you go there, you can put in all the different filters, but you're going to see a search. I think it's on the left-hand side where you're going to go in and put in keyword, which is going to be your keyword for your industry. Now, they do also have NAICS codes, so you can put in your NAICS codes. You don't know your NAICS code? That's what the government uses to identify your service. So you can go to nacscode.com, look for the keyword, put in the keyword from private industry to translate it into government. Once you download the budget, because now you've already gone onto usaspending.gov and you've discovered what your budget is, as far as who's utilizing you the most. So let's say it's DHS, Department of Homeland Security, because you're doing disaster relief contracts and you are working with FEMA, the agency FEMA. If you're looking at doing that, then what's the point of this fiscal year 2023 budget? We keep hearing about the trillions of dollars, but what does that mean to us? What does that mean to us? What does that translate money to us? Well, what it means is we can look at these budgets. We can see specifically what they're spending money on. And like when they talk about preparedness, then you can go into what are you going to do with when you look at your industry, whatever your industry is, you can look at what part can you play in preparedness. Do you teach? Do you teach people how to do evacuations? Do you have a trucking company? So when it comes to when they're looking for recovery and let's go with response, you're able to put it, bring in ready to eat meals quickly and very, very efficiently. You're able to bring in water. So you may be a part of the recovery. But when you look at this budget and you download it and you look at under each one, they've got like maybe 16 categories under the Department of Homeland Security. FEMA is just one of them. One of the 16, they have TSA, so many more. So there may be something on there for infrastructure. I know that's another one that they talked about that is like a pet peeve or really a real, I guess, an attention spot for the government. That's why the president wanted to set aside money for that. In other words, don't get caught up in the 1.52 trillion. Drill down to look at what can be your niche. What can be the one thing that differentiator? So first, you can use the budget to determine what is going to be something you're going to write specifically that you're going to be able to do on your capability statement. Secondly, you're going to look at for disaster relief. Let's say I'm looking at a differentiator under disaster relief, and then I look at the budget and they give specific things they're looking for. Like, for instance, they said they're looking for tools, teaching, tools, building codes are going to be strengthened. So the buildings can be strengthened so that if you're inside of a building, that the disaster will not be as devastating if the building codes. These are just small examples of this budget for one agency. All the budgets are out for fiscal year 2023. So you can look at what agency by going on usaspending.gov, finding the agency, I'd say at least 2, no more than 3, that utilizes your industry. Then choose those 3, download the budgets, and get busy. Start with your little highlighter, get a yellow highlighter, print it out. I love paper. I'm a paper person. That way I can hold it, I can underline it, I can keep it, I can look at it first thing in the morning, when I go to bed at night, because that's how much it needs to be on your mind. On your mind. So once you've done that, you actually start creating your capability statement. And several sections of the capability statement, it talks about the company overview. Utilize some of the exact words that they talk about what they're looking for. And then make sure you do that for your differentiator. Put things down in the differentiator that's going to differentiate you, but make sure they align with what they're looking for and what they've spent billions of dollars for in this industry. When you're able to do that, you are going to sync up with, capability officers and doing capability briefings, and you'll be surprised how this will help you be able to go from listening on the, being on the outskirts of the 1.52, 1.58 or $52 billion or trillion dollar, to you being able to make it make sense to you, where you can get six figures at least, and then go up to, like I say, and beyond. The and beyond piece is what you're looking for as well. And that could be the milli. All right. So get busy, find your industry, usaspending.gov, start getting it together now. This is what I did, and that would be what I would suggest to you to be a part of it. Now, if you want more detail, because this is, like I say, high level, if you want eye level, then make sure you join me. Click in the description where I am going to have this information in my disaster relief masterclass. It's absolutely free. I'd love to see you there. So if you're looking at learning more eye level and not high level, then join me. I'd love to see you there. Click in the description. And until next time, be safe. Bye-bye.